My mic was turned way the fuck down. Oh, yeah, that's what happens when you don't stream for extended periods of time and kind of just let things fall apart. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back, Alexander and Codex. We are just observing a test game of the as of yet untitled Freelancer mod that I've been working on for about the last week. Full fucking time. Yeah, I posted the previous test game, I think test game number 7 or 6 on the two to YouTube yesterday? That sounds right, yesterday-ish. Just to kind of demonstrate what I've been working on. I started taking recordings only starting 4 days ago, 3-4 days ago, so I could visually see the difference. The map has come a long way in the last few days. I posted on TikTok and Instagram last Wednesday or Thursday that I was losing my fucking mind because I had rewritten the same fucking code, rewritten it 4 or 5 times. And this is what I was talking about. What I wanted initially was starter to make a mod similar to my Massive Soul System mod, but for the Sirius sector powers, the houses of Sirius here, Liberty, Kusari, etc., etc. And I did that. A long time ago, as a matter of fact, as part of my fictional systems mod that's now defunct and this is replacing. But the Sirius systems just look and feel very, very different to Stellaris' default systems. You know, if we hop into the New York system here, the first thing you'll probably notice is a shit ton of asteroids. That's because Freelancer was a game in the early 2000s and it didn't have fully fledged, you know, planetary systems. It was mostly a star, if you're lucky, or a few stars, or more probably just a giant fucking cloud of asteroids with a couple of planets plopped in, and all the asteroids look exactly the same and you can't really interact with them. And, you know, so the design of this sector, the physical landscape, is a result of that. And so it felt really out of place, and I didn't really like how jarring it was when randomly generated systems, especially my more realistic and bigger and better systems, met up with them. It just felt really, really jarring. So I rewrote all of the territories belonging to each of the major houses into more compact systems. I think it was only 3 or 4 compact systems that basically had all the noteworthy or important or cool stuff that they have in Freelancer. And that kind of worked, but those dense starts were really overpowered. Really, especially fucking Gallia's start was really overpowered, and it just didn't quite scratch that itch. So I took those, you know, at this point I've rewritten the same Freelancer vanilla. Unmodified Freelancer has ballpark, let's see here, about 50 stars. So about 50 star systems. What I was modding based off of was Discovery. Freelancer Discovery. Discovery is a really popular multiplayer mod for Freelancer. I love their world building. I love the quality of their work. I would love to play it in a single player offline mode because MMOs aren't my thing anymore. That has about 100 systems. Now, give or take, because they're adding and removing them over the course of decades. So I actually went back in their wiki and dredged up more. So I was digging through 100 systems 4 or 5 times. And eventually I just said fuck it and started cracking open how to generate galaxies, because at the end of the day, the mod that I was making, even if it were, even if it was, mostly Sirius Sector planets, mostly Sirius Sector systems, it's still, not quite right because of the way Stellaris galaxies generate. I can't guarantee that things will be the exact right shape or distance from each other. Well, if you rebuild the whole thing from the ground up, yes, you can. I used a third-party tool that's outdated and is kind of jank to build the first version of this, and things weren't really lined up well, and the scale wasn't quite right. But, that produced a mod that I could then look in the code and see, okay, how the fuck did you do this? And I compared this file with, New Horizons, with the other Star Trek mod, Brave New Worlds? New Worlds? Whatever the fuck it's called, and with a couple of Star Wars mods and the Mass Effect mod, and looked at, okay, well, here's how they generate their galaxies, and here's how they da-da-da-da-da. One thing that seems innocuous, it seems really easy, but it's actually a huge pain, it has been a huge pain in the ass, making these keep the right name. Because normally, it's a chicken egg situation. In this map, I think, the star comes first. The star comes before the nation. So I don't know why. What was happening was nations were randomly generating names, like Human Coalition of New York or whatever, and it was like really bad using the random name system in Stellaris. It's horseshit, and people have modded hell make better. I spent the better part of a day just trying to figure out how the fuck to lock in the names so they don't change. And they do still change if you overthrow a government, which is kind of appropriate. But now they spawn correctly. That took fucking forever. I'm not 100% on the map right now. This is a combination of vanilla systems, current discovery systems, about, oh god, I don't know, dozens of removed discovery systems. And when Discovery the mod removes systems from circulation, often because of something happening in the lore, or they're just trying to consolidate for whatever reason, or like a guild ceases to exist or something, they move the planets to other star systems and bases around, so I had to, check against existing stuff to make sure I wasn't placing the same thing multiple times in the galaxy. And then I had never heard of this mod right before I started working on this, Crossfire. Crossfire is a very ambitious mod, to put it politely. I had heard really good things about it and actually started a Freelancer playthrough to play with it, because Crossfire's main thing is, it has like a campaign after the campaign, and it's reworked a bunch of stuff, and it's basically Freelancer 2. It's hot dog shit. It's not fun. Combat is really drawn out. The balance of the economy is just completely destroyed. What goods are valuable at what trade station is semi-random every day. I kind of hate it. The writing's abysmal. The grammar on the wiki is horrible. The wiki's incomplete. I want it to be more like Discovery. But with that said, I took a bunch of systems from there and added them in to help fill in some empty space. Crossfire is not written well, and I'm not trying to bash here. What I'm trying to get at is the lore for who controls what systems and where they are and why X, Y, or Z is really not good. But they had a wide body of work in systems that exist. And you know, it's tangentially, you know, adjacent to the lore of the setting because it's a popular mod and a lot of people played it, so it still kind of gets that nostalgia across. So I had to do a lot of kind of retconning and lore corrections and like geographical corrections for a lot of stuff in that mod to make it fit. Like Crossfire's whole fucking thing is there's a system up here, X3043, called the Crossfire system that's just connected to like every fucking thing on the map, and there's a bunch of systems that are only connected to it, and it makes the map just look like shit, just like a million fucking lines going here, some of them interconnected. What? I have it pulled up, don't I? I do. This is cursed. This is cursed vexillology. Wait, not vexillology. Cursed cartography. This is just bad map making. This trying to read this in particular is just destroyed, and this is destroyed. In addition to this, they've added in whole new fucking sectors, which again is kind of generous because like I've used some of this and some of it's good, but it's really unpolished and it's amateurish. And this is me saying this, and I'm an amateur, right? Shit knows shit. Game knows game. Lack of game knows lack of game, right? So it took a lot of time untangling that, and even getting the spacing between stars. I'm not 100% happy about it right now. Took time because the distances between stars started out at a fourth of what they currently are. So essentially everything on screen right now would be squeezed into about this in the first build of this game. So it was a lot more compact, but it made the readability of it sucked. And it kind of fits in the lore of Freelancer because going through a jump gate or a jump hole seems to be instantaneous travel. Going across an entire star system takes like a couple minutes, right? And if we're to use that as our standard, well, it all should be really in close together, or the speed on ships should be ramped up, or FTL travel should be really like instantaneous. But for that to mesh well with Stellaris, you do kind of need to space things out a little bit. That's not even to talk about the borders and how fucking abhorrent they look there. Now, I'm not 100% on the colors that we're using right now. Rhineland and the Corsairs kind of blend in together too much. Outcasts and the fucking, oh my god, the Nomads? Yes. Are Nomads dead? No. Yeah, their colors are way too fucking similar. Yeah, there's some things I want to change, but their flags in game and even in Discovery are like really simple, and they use a lot of the same colors, and Stellaris only has so many colors, so that's been a low priority thing I need to address. Now, is this balanced? No. Is it finished? No. The Outcasts and Corsairs are too powerful, and I really need to give them more debuffs at the beginning. Currently, the only difference between a major house and them is they start out with just a same amount of population, which is wrong. I want to reduce the population of the Outcasts and the Corsairs to like 1 or 2 starting pops, and everybody else to like 2 or 3. But I haven't done Origin modding before, and I started looking at it. It was giving me a headache, and I decided to put it aside until I at least get the map locked down. As I just finished the map today, and I say finished with, you know, emphasis on some real air quotes there, because nothing's ever really done. And that's kind of something I love about the Discovery mod, is that it's a living project, right? Like, it's never completely done. There's always something more to do, Yeah, I'd like to... What? Man, okay. The dream would be to stagger the starts. And I don't think there's a way to do this. according to the lore, you know, Liberty is the first house here. They get a full fucking, like, 2 years head start on Rhineland, who gets another 2 or 3 years on Kusari, who then get, like, 5 years on Bretonia. And then Gallia shows up, like, 70 years after that. The Coalition isn't formed, and this is Coalition of Sirius, which is it's a multiplayer faction from Discovery. Corsairs should start out, they get here like 80 years? They get here very late, as do the Outcasts. It would be you, I think is the order, and then you. But the Nomads would start out here from the beginning, and Stellaris is such a game of compound interest that staggering 80 fucking years would make Gallia unplayable, unless in the Old Republic Star Wars mod, there's something really great where hyperlanes are not generated until certain phases of the game. So the Sith Empire out in the oh my god, Outer Rim. My brain was saying Outer Ring, and I'm like, that's not right. Out in the Outer Rim, don't directly connect to the core systems until a certain event happens in the game or a certain amount of time goes by, which is really cool. So I think I could do something similar with at least gating off access to certain areas until those systems were in air quotes here, historically explored. I've also thought about all of these connections represent jump gates and jump holes. Jump holes are natural existing phenomena, are typically unstable, kind of dangerous, whereas jump gates are constructed. And I'm in the same way thinking of removing all the jump gate connections and having those added back in over time by when those jump gates would have been completed. Oh god, it's not a lot of work. Yes, it is. It's a lot of repetitive work, and I would just need to sit down and code it out once to know how to do it, and then I'd have to repeat it literally hundreds of times. Because it doesn't look like that many systems we have on screen. It's around 200. But 200 with at least two hyperlane, or with at least two, hyperlane connections each. Let's say 50% of those are jump gates. That's 100 fucking times I'd have to repeat this thing. That's a hell of a lot, baby. That's a whole lot. God damn it, I hate Rhineland. I hate how they do this. I really don't think bearing should be connected to anything. Like, I like Rhineland. I really hate how they jump the Liberty border here and build in, like, Kansas and shit. I'm not really sure why this happens so consistently. Probably because the number of habitable worlds in Rhineland are a lot lower. Liberty has a lot of systems squeezed into a small area. The Liberty AI almost always does poorly. As a player, oh dude, it's so easy to lock down this, and you're golden. But AI bad. Is anyone at war? No, not yet. You can't see it from here, but you'll see it later. The great houses, which are Gallia, Bretonia, Liberty, Kusari, Rhineland, are really not aggressive. really, really not aggressive initially. So it takes them a while to get aggressive, whereas the Outcasts, Corsairs, Coalition, and especially the Nomads are quite aggressive. Man, the border gore is kind of unavoidable because the nature of Freelancer is a lot of these systems are interconnected, and it's not clean, easy lines. Which is, you know, fair, but also like, oh god, it kind of sucks. I I want the Nomads to do well in a game for once, but they're a machine empire, and I'm kind of on the fence about that. Machine fits them best. The outcasts, or the... oh god, I forget what their species are called. They're organic crystalline machines in the Freelancer lore. So they're lithoid hive mind machines, which are not a fucking thing. This not a fucking thing. You can have two of those. You can have a lithoid hive mind, but that doesn't quite feel right or work right. They work more like machines. So I have a machine race with the lithoid ship set, which is like, you know, kind of close, but and they're determined exterminators right now, which isn't quite right either. I mean, they sort of are, but they also infiltrate and like create the wild, which are human-controlled puppets, but there aren't really mechanisms except for like necroids for that, and they're certainly not necroids. So the Stellaris mechanics start not working 100% well with the Nomads, and I'm honestly okay with that. The goal here is not to recreate the lore of Freelancer. Why? Because it takes 800 goddamn years for Freelancer to happen. From the settlement of Planet Manhattan to the borders you see in Freelancer, which are Colorado, New York, Texas, California. And like a bunch of systems around that they kind of have control over. Takes 800 years for 4 fucking stars. And, you know, Kusari gets a little bit more, and Britonia has a little bit more than that. But it didn't even take 40 years for them to double that here. So I don't think there's an elegant way to make the timescale of the lore really fit the game, except for like the jump gate constructions. And I might even just do it so that jump gates are created, you know, that's an idea actually. Just have one jump gate event for around the date when they were invented. Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I like that a lot because that's a hell of a lot easier to write. Jump gate. One event. Year of invention. Yeah. Now, there's alternatives too. I could just completely remove all jump gates connections entirely. There's a dynamic hyperlane mod, which adds or removes hyperlane connections over time, and it has a one optional playset for it is that you can create starbase sections that then create or destroy hyperlane connections. That would be fucking perfect. But the AI will not do it properly. I know that for a fact that the AI won't do it properly. And I like the idea of letting, you know, players especially make their own jump gate connections, because, you know, there's a lot of potential there, but it's never really established what the range of a jump gate is. And we have disasters like in Texas and other systems with like failed jump gates, and it's not clear on why they failed. So the constraints make it really difficult to nail down a way, except for just like a one-off event to spawn them in. I don't know. It's oh Jesus. Coalition, Corsairs, Territorial. Yeah, that's fitting. So the Coalition down here, I haven't talked about them much. The Coalition are in I don't love this insignia. I might clean it up, because like look at the difference between how clean this is and this. This was rushed. This is temporary probably. The sleeper ship for the Corsairs and Outcasts, the Hispania, was sabotage, right? The saboteurs make up the Sirius Coalition. They run away, and currently in Discovery have settled in Omega 52. I've added in a whole fucking miniature sector from Crossfire, where the actual Coalition goes after Earth is destroyed by the Nomads, which is in the lore, which is weird, but whatever. And so I have them start on the capital, or first system explored by the Coalition there, just to space this out a little bit. So Coalition is more of a major player than it probably should be. And like, this is my biggest departure from existing mods, is just like taking these two coalitions and saying now kiss and just trying to make them work. It's not that powerful. There's a few planets down here, but a lot of them aren't that great. If we compare that just to like Britonia has a lot in the inner core here. So does Liberty, so does Rhineland. Kusari has a lot of good systems squeezed in here. Gallia, I just went through and took a bit of a harsher interpretation with a bunch of these because they have way too many fucking habitable worlds. Gallia is a little overpowered in this, and in the lore of Discovery, especially when they were first added, because they were new systems added by the modders, and the modders came in with like really excited ideas, and like they wanted to, you know, put in a whole star system's worth of stuff, and they could do it, unlike the original programmers in the early 2000s. So they squeezed a shit ton of stuff into this, and it's great, but by comparison to the vanilla systems, it just looks wrong. It looks completely wrong. So that's something I've had to keep an eye on, is my source material that I'm pulling from was not made with 4x balance in mind. So Gallia's attacking the Outcasts, allied with Kusari. Yeah, you're kind of fucked, right? Like, there's no way. I don't know how the attacker... It's probably the militarist thing. Yeah, I need to get rid of that. Yeah, no, that's... The Corsairs and the Outcasts are really overperforming right now. Remove. And this is why I do these, calling them test games is a little generous, but, you know, observation sessions, so I can see how the AI is acting and try and nudge it closer and closer to how my expected outcome. Or add to everyone. It's either I'm removing militarists from them or I'm adding it to everyone. But then that puts the Nomads in an awkward spot because they don't get that ship fire bonus. I need to take a second look at what they have. I aspire, let's say, to create custom ethics and civics and origins for all of these powers, or at least the major ones, but well, we're not there yet. It's been about 50 years and we can see some wars ongoing. And which is why I wait until about 50 years, because that's the point where you really start seeing wars kick off, and you'll get a good impression for the balance of power initially. But here I just want to jump in and take a look at this particularly. Britonia has 9 fucking planets. Yeah, because they swept into here. They got Vespucci, they got Cortez, they got Coronado. These are supposed to be contended between Liberty and Britonia. Like, if you get a 50-50 split of, I think there's 2 in Coronado, 1 in Cortez, 1 in Vespucci, that's 2 each, that would balance this out. But Liberty AI is stupid. Gallia still has a lot of planets. Rhineland currently has a lot of planets, which is surprising to me. Rhineland's actually done fairly well this game. Kusari, did you, like, miss something? I think they should get Tau 65 and they didn't. Or it's not counting New Tokyo. Like, something feels off about this. Kusari's supposed to build kind of tall. And you can see personality. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't hate it. This is a lot better. Not better. More stable. The borders look a lot better than they have. Britonia and Rhineland sure love making weird ass borders. I think a lot it'll go a long way once I find a way to nerf the Corsairs, Outcasts, and Coalition particularly, so that Kusari, Britonia, Rhineland aren't competing for space with them. That'll make a huge difference, especially if the Coalition, and they typically do, focus on here first. The real issue is, and the Nomads will do better too, the Outcasts just start grabbing up really important crossroad systems like Omicron Psi, Omicron Theta, where the fuck is it? And Omicron Zeta? No, it's Psi and Theta. I hate Omicron Theta. It has a connection to Omicron Alpha. This has a connection to this. Because it does in the lore, and it's really important to the campaign of Freelancer that this connection exists. But holy shit, do I hate what it does to the AI of the Outcasts, because the Outcasts then see, okay, this is 1 jump away, this is 2 jumps away, this is 3 jumps away, when it should be 1, 2, 3 from the other direction. So this is, if you're measuring from the center from their home planet, this is further away than this by a magnitude of 3. And I mean, like, I guess, but we're mostly playing on a 2-dimensional plane here, and I don't like it. I don't like it. So anyhow, I'm gonna wrap up because I only wanted to do half an hour of this. We can unpause. There's no harm in that. Thank God, maybe I might take a fucking break. I really like that jump gate idea. Man, there was something that I was like, oh, I should go do that right now. I don't remember. I have a whole fucking list of stuff that I've yet to do. Let's... Colors... Empire... Jump... Gate... Event... what else? Militarist, question mark. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go take a look at the fucking ethics and see if there's a way I can just make the Corsairs and the Outcasts like fanatic xenophobe or something. Just to... Because they're militaristic, but like the buff it gives is too good for when the AI's fighting itself and the Nomad ships lose and the Nomad ship should be winning. So like maybe the Nomad should be an advanced start. That's actually a good idea. But if they're an advanced start, then the Nomad's too strong. I don't know. It's really infeasible, given the technology that the Outcast or the Nomads lose in the Freelancer game. Like, it's an uphill battle. But if you leave in those conditions here, they'll just fucking destroy things. And, well, just make them a crisis then. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'll level with you. The Nomads would be best introduced as a crisis. I don't fucking want to, dog. I mean, I should, but I don't know how to do that. I'm tired of learning. This has been a long week. I've done, in the last 7 days, I have written and kept something around 23,000 lines of code. I have probably written twice that, if not more than twice that. I'm tired. So naturally, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for hanging out. Definitely let me know if you have ideas or suggestions or want to see more of this. If you want me to publish the mod before it's done, if you just want to get in and take a look at it, let me know. I haven't done it yet, but it would literally take me 5 minutes. Yeah. I don't know how much content I'm going to be making around this, but this is what I'm spending a lot of my time on. So until later, whenever that might be, I'm going to say toodaloo. Take care. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.